Okay, guys, so now that you've completed the beginner series for investing and we dealt with everything very simply, I'm going to just start taking you for a ride when I go in and check in what I'm doing, and you can kind of follow me along to get a little bit more experience and a little bit of what the day to day looks like. So, pretty much, we're going to go back to Trading View this morning because this is actually something I do every morning. When I wake up, I check the pre market high and the pre market low. So, the particular assets that I like to trade on, I go and just check them. So, I've already adjusted these, and that made me remind me that I did not talk to you guys about the drawing tools or creating a watch list. So just some of the basic things that if you was new, I would share with you. That's what we're gonna do. So let's start with talking about the watch list. So when you start investing in trading, there's going to be companies you might watch a YouTube tutorial and somebody will talk about a particular company you've never heard of, or maybe you have heard of them. And you kind of want to say, I want to keep an eye on that one. I'm thinking about them, so I'm going to put them on my watch list. So that is something that you remove my drawing tool over here for a second. Prospects, and then I have Renee's Rain. And these are the particular assets that I watch a lot closer. And you can see I don't have tons of companies. I have my VTI, which I do actually own, and that's my total market index fund. So I just keep an eye on them, but you see they're lower on the list because I want to keep them in my radar. But I do not jump in and out of my index fund, nor do I jump in and out of my SCHD, which is the dividend ETF that I purchase. They are what they are, so I kind of keep them together lower. And Apple's just here because we've been talking about Apple. But so I have AMD, Meta, SoFi, Celsius, H. Those are basically the four assets that on a day to day basis I'm adjusting, I'm watching on a day to day, and I'm just adding when it makes sense to add and what have you. So if you wanted to add an asset, you would just click on your watch list and go add symbol, and you could pick anything. Let's say we're going to use Elf because Elf was one I was uh, heard somebody talking about this morning and they liked them. So you would just hit them and then hit add. You want to make sure you're under the right exchange. It will either be the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. That's how you know you're on the right ticker. And then you'll see their little icon, logo, and their name. And I have it set for all, but if you was just looking for stocks or just a fund, I don't do futures, forex, crypto, uh, bonds. I don't do these others, but I just keep it on all, so it will search through everything, and then you put them in there, and here what they would be, and you have what they changed. So it's currently trading at $61.14. Let me click on it here, and the change it's gone down $2.08, which is a 3.29% drop since the last time. I guess that would have been yesterday. But I like this part down here because it gives you some of the little basics. Like this is what it closed at yesterday. It was at $61.14. So it's down $2.08. That's as of 4 p.m. yesterday or when it closed. Now we're in the pre-market. The stock market's going to open up in about 15 minutes. So this was between the post-market yesterday and the pre-market today. That same asset is now trading at $64.70. So what does that tell me? Yesterday, ELF went down $2, but because the president just made an announcement that he's giving Iran a 2 week reprieve to open up the strait, investors got happy, and overnight when this came out, all of a sudden, ELF has popped up $3.56 a share. So this kind of gives me some insight here, and then there'll be like some news about it. UBS lowered its price target for ELF from $102 to $70 per share. The update was issued by UBS and pertains specifically to the firm's valuation of ELF's beauty stock. So what does that tell me now? That tells me that the analysts are looking at this particular asset to go from, well, actually they lowered it. So they said they lowered its price target. Originally they had a price target of $102. Now it is 70. So where it's trading now, if it went to their new lowered price target, you could still earn money if you wanted to trade it. And when I say trade it, I mean you buy 10 shares of it at $61, and then when it bumps up to 70, you can share it and lock in the gains. But that just gives me that kind of idea that I don't know why it dropped so drastically, because before it was $102, but here we are. This is where the news starts influencing price, and you just pay attention to it. Do not react to it, because a lot of people trade the chaos of news and they lose money. So once you've done your due diligence on researching the fundamentals of a company and you believe in their story, you believe in their cash flow statement, their balance sheet, their income statement, and you know how to either find someone who knows how to do that or go to Yahoo Finance and just get an idea for the health of the company, then you just stick to your guns and just pay attention and observe it. Because tomorrow, trust me, the wind could blow a whole different direction and analysts could have a whole different opinion. But this is the watch list. So I'm gonna keep them in there because I am thinking about them. I just did some homework on ELF here. Here's their chart. And I put notes in my charts. So I was told ELF was a steal at $87. So at 70, it is a gift. Over the next several years, there's a projection by Jeremy who does, he's a YouTube vlogger that has a channel called Financial Education. And I like Jeremy because Jeremy is very good at running balance sheets, income statements, running projections on companies, looking at everything from free cash flow to their debt to equity ratio, everything you would want to know about the health of a company, and he gives it a grade. And Jeremy feels like over the next several years, ELF could be between 200 and 500 or higher. So that was my initial note, and I had a new note because he ran a 3-year projection on them as well, and he's saying that in a bearish situation, they would be about where they are. But he's looking at more. Let me see what did I do with that note? I'm just going to grab you my note because that way. All right, here we go. So through 2028, he's looking at a bearish, like if price did poorly and just went into a recession and a lot of hot mess things happened, he's looking at a scenario over the next 3 years of $65 a share. His base feeling was that ELF would be at $140 a share, and if it did extremely well, it would be at $200. And that was this morning, April 8th, 2026. He made this video, I think last night, and these are his projections based on ELF currently. So I'm just keeping an eye on them for many reasons. One, my portfolio is tech heavy with AI and technology and computers. And so most of my fan favorites are in the tech sector. So I sometimes look for opportunities for a company that has very good growth potential over the next 3 years that is not related to tech. Because an important thing to have a successful portfolio is diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And so ELF being a cosmetic company that I'm familiar with, you can go to any CVS, Target, Walmart, you see ELF cosmetics everywhere. And a lot of people like them. They feel like it's a good quality makeup and it's not expensive like some of the high-end ones. So they have a unique niche moat kind of company. And that's why I keep an eye on these types of companies. So if they pull into an area where I'm much more comfortable owning them, then, I might buy a few shares and watch them over 6 months or a year. And then sometimes I just feel like, you know what? They made money and I'll exit the position and lock in the gains. So that is ELF. Also, another company I felt I'm looking at as well, according to my watch list, is Celsius Holdings. The energy drink people, they have a good outlook as well. And they have nothing to do with AI or technology. So if AI takes a hit in the stock, then I have other parts of my portfolio that are not subject to that price sensitivity, if that makes sense. So anyway, but this is the watch list. You can go ahead, you can create one, name one. You can choose what goes into your watch list. I don't add volume and I don't do the extended hours. I ask for the logo, the symbol. I don't know, name my just don't have it in there. What else? Yeah, and that's it. So you want to look at Spire, Apple, or Microsoft, Celsius Holdings, any of these companies. And if you want to remove it, you would just go to the trash can. Let me find one I don't mind removing. I'm just going to remove Apple. And then it's gone. So that is your watch list. You can name them. I have Renee's Rain, and then I have one that says prospects, which are companies that somebody will, if I watch a video on YouTube and somebody mentions a company I've never heard of, sometimes I'll throw them in the prospect list because they're so excited about the company, but I haven't yet run their fundamentals as a company. I haven't looked at them. Their price has to be in a range to where I'm okay trying to buy it. And we didn't talk about it before, but we'll talk about it now. One thing I like about the way the stock market is set up currently is that you can buy fraction shares. So once upon a time, if you wanted a share of Apple and Apple was trading at 30, or let's say $300 a share, you had to have $300 to buy a share. Now you can just basically say, I want $25 worth of Apple. And when you set up your buy order, you can say $25 and you can buy $25 worth of one share. And that's really cool because you can add to it when you get to it, and you can build it up to a whole share over time. But you're still invested, you're still benefiting from the moves on the asset and instrument, and that's what's up. But sometimes I have people that refer companies to me, and some of these shares are like $600. At one time, Netflix was $1,100 a share, and I was just looked at it like, why? Why would I want to? You know how long it's going to take me to build up $1,100 to buy one single share? But I did end up buying I think I ended up buying like $50 at a time, 50-50, and then they did a reverse split, which meant they took the shares and divided them by I think it was 9. So I actually ended up having a whole share and a half when they did the split, but the value was still exactly the same. So that is that on that. Now you can see why I have notes when I taught you the beginner series, because we can cover a lot of material and I can jump around a lot. But I still think you'll enjoy the class. So, all right, so that's your watch list. You can rename it. You can clear the list, create a new list. Yeah. Okay, that's that. So that's where your watch list is. That's right up here. This is the area where you would add alerts. So you're not in the charts all the time. Sometimes you're looking at an asset and you say, you know what? If Apple gets to, let's say it's trading. Let me just get into Apple. All right, so Apple's currently trading at 259. It's in about 259. So let's say you'd say, I want Apple, but only if it gets to 255. If it comes back down to market structure at 255, I want to buy $50. So what you can do is set up an alert. And move you over here, my drawing tools. Let's see how I want to show you this. All right, let's click over the area we want and right click. And you can add an alert. It's close to market structure, so I'm going to add it next to it. Let's say it drops below market structure at 255. You can add an alert for Apple and the condition and whether it's crossing up, crossing down. I just say if it crosses this area, let me know. And you can change it here. Let's say I really wanted it closer to here. You can change your price here, up or down. You can add a condition, which I would need to upgrade to do that, but we don't need to add the condition. And it expired in a month unless I changed it. And this is the message I will get in my alert. Apple's currently crossing at 255.05, and it will show up either in your app on TradingView. Usually it shows up here, it shows up on my phone, it'll show up however you want it to show up. Notify in the app has to be on. So I have TradingView on my phone. Show toast notification, I don't need that. Send an email. If you would prefer email, you could click it here and add an email. And it plays a sound or it doesn't play a sound. For me, it sounds like thunder. And so if I hear the thunder sound, I say, oh, something just hit. It's my cue to go look at my charts because something happened. Let me apply that real quick, and you can create that alert. And then all of a sudden you get this alert on here. And it says APL is crossing. And then if you don't want the alert anymore, you can just go ahead and delete it. Do you really want to delete your alert? Yep. And then you delete it. But you can create alerts for anywhere if price goes up. If you're looking to do something, you can just set up that manual alert, and that can save you a lot of time. This is the object tree, and I don't do chat in here. All right, so that is that. And I'm going to close out this class, and I'm going to open up a new section. Or am I? We're 15 minutes in. Yep, we're going to get into drawing tools on the next video. So I'm going to stop this video where we talked about the watch list and our little fireside chat, and then we're going to do a new video for the drawing tools in the next video. We're going to cover how do you create these lines up here, and when you want to create these, how do you edit them? How do you just change all this around?